to, adhere to the group, because each athlete has about a dozen people working with them. So, you have to fit in the group of whatever was decided for that athlete. But otherwise, for us, I always feel that there's more longevity in finding a certain balance and figuring a way to be friendly with food. And I think that's the big missing link, is that we're becoming hostile. Food is a scary thing that we must control at all costs. And our bodies are this statue that we must sculpt at all costs. It's really not my thing. So when I think of the Beachbody platform, I love the fact that it allows many type of workouts and way to move the body. I'm more about moving the body and finding health and freedom than having to look a certain way. I don't really care about that. It's just not my thing. And I've been in that world. So maybe that's why I've been in the extreme world of the body being so objectified that we forget that it's alive and a reflection of us. And it becomes a thing that has to look a certain way in order to make me happy. And then we forget the gratitude that I feel we must have toward our bodies that have and go through a million things a day and handles trillions of information a day and emotions and ups and downs, and it deals with it graciously. And then we still get pissed off at it because the boobs are not big enough, or the thighs are not strong enough, or tricep hang a little bit, and then we have like lights on a tricep, and a tricep makes our life miserable because, oh my God, how can I wear a tank if my tricep is not tight? And it's kind of annoying me. I'm kind of tired of this deep objectification of the female body, especially. I was actually hoping we'd go the other way, but now men seem to join the party. So we're going the other way. So it's really something that I'm thrilled that I see women on the platform to really love their bodies and embrace it, but they love it at all costs. They love it if it looks right, whatever right is for you. And then if the body starts not looking right for whatever reason, then you stop loving it. That's very conditional love. And that's not love at all to me. So throughout the years, when I go to other platforms, sort of my sideline work, which is more... I don't know what word they apply to it nowadays, but it has to do with this sort of, is it possible to actually learn to really value us, all that we are, and to not compartmentalize our love, that if all fits and goes exactly as we want it to go, then we're not lovable. And I think it's a big deal. So I think that if you do the inner work that way, and the outer work comes, it's sort of an easier aspect, the body, the food, the activities, even clean air, all these outside elements is a very tangible way to sort of ground ourselves and remember to take care of ourselves. But I think all of that still remains a prison if you don't do the inner work with it. Because then if any outer element goes off, i.e. you gain 5 pounds, then you're thrown off and there's your failure and whatever, I don't know, all the stories we tell ourselves, and that concerns me. So I really feel that, like everything in life, i.e. the beginning of this conversation with the balance in food, the inner-outer balance of the daily work, which hopefully eventually becomes a pleasure. So the memory, the remembering of being at peace with who we are, what we are, and just accepting that. And people hear that and they think, oh, well, then you can be on the couch and eat Doritos and do nothing all day and you think it's okay. And I said, well, that's not accepting what you are. That's actually denying what you are and sabotaging what you are and hating what you are. So it's a very different thing than surrendering to darkness, accepting what you are. But if you come from a place that I'm lovable, I'm okay, and I do good, and I'm worthy of attention and good nourishment and moving my body and appreciating all that my body does, especially women. We go through crazy phases in our lives, even hormonally, it never ends, the changes. When you just think of 10 years of perimenopause, and then menopause, 10 years, 5 years, and then post-menopause. And then before that, we had puberty, and then pregnancy, and then post-pregnancy. We're all constantly going up and down with hormonal changes that men don't really go through the way we do. And so I think kindness to ourselves. So it's a very different approach than to control every aspect rigidly in order to be happy. And then even when you look the part, all perfect, you're still controlling everything. And there's no ease and there's no grace and flowing and enjoying every senses we have to enjoy. So that's something that's very precious to convey, especially to fellow women, especially to mothers, where your behavior towards yourself will be assimilated, nothing to do with our words, spoken words, but the way we feel about ourselves is contagious to our kids. So on and on it goes. And the outside world will tell you that being healthy now means being sexy, perfect, and never aging. And we unconsciously really associate health with not aging. Every beauty product, every oil, every exercise program, everything is about not aging, but under the guise of health. And I think that's two very different things. That if you can be clear about that, then you gain some freedom and you engage in your program and you're eating in a very different way, not trying to pretend you're not human, but understanding your humanity and cherishing it and taking care of it. So I think that's very, very important. So part of that is you doing this, actually, teaching people a balanced, clean, hopefully kind of non-complicated way of eating mm-hmm. that people can fit into that like a nice, comfortable pajama.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How is that kind of how you would want people to view Shakeology then? Is something that, yeah, okay. That was kind of my next question for you.
Or are we on or?
We're going. I was trying to catch you, girl, because you were saying some good things there. I was trying to take notes. So we're going live, but I'm kind of in my own world with you. I feel like you're just sitting in my office here. So I got lots.
I'm glad that everybody heard that, because I think above all else, to me, that's a very important message.
Absolutely.
And you're very smart in putting that together with the intent of Shakeology, because mm-hmm. it really is the intent of Shakeology. Mm-hmm. All of you now are familiar, I think, with Darren and I, mm-hmm. and our story. And my story was being very ill, very young. And so the elements of the Shakeology, I can speak for myself. I know Darren has his own story, but they kind of match perfectly. But, the story of me discovering all the elements that are not in the Shakeology, learning the synergy of it and applying it to my own body and discovering the preciousness of health. And so early on, I've started understanding through many events. That was just one of them, the one I share to explain the origin of Shakeology is one of the elements, but it's as if life kept putting me in a place where I would lose my health in some way or another. And over and over again, it's like I had no time for vanity because I was just wanting to get my health back from different perspectives, different things that would happen to me. And so in a way, I'm very grateful for that because it broke that habit of thinking of our bodies as a vanity mirror, and that it's just there to reflect some kind of perfection that is, impossible to keep. And a perfection of the role of the female in the world as well. So I got broken many, many, many times. And I can say that at 50 now, I definitely see the value of breaking that habit of objectifying my body. Because even to women, we objectify ourselves. We'll check each other out. We'll judge them harshly. But that harshness directed at others is really a harshness we have about ourselves. And that has to be broken somewhere. So you're absolutely right. The Shakeology had nothing to do with youth.
Mm-hmm.
It had to do with health, well-being, understanding the elements of nature, understanding that you are nature. You are made of the same elements. You are designed to have a synergy together. Therefore, there's a synergy in the shake's elements that are there to synergize with your own body. And the balance of these elements. So we looked for the common denominator. What we felt, to the best of our abilities, was common to all human beings that we all needed. And that, to make it quick, that meant, phytonutrients in our greens, antioxidants in our fruits, good amount of fiber, the pre and probiotic, and the microbiome health, basically the systemic enzyme, digestive enzyme. All these things back then were not quite as popular. But we were intent on that because both Darren and I knew that that was crucial to our well-being, to be able to absorb and extract the nutrients we needed from the food into our bloodstream, so that it benefits us. We understood the basic elements of, carb, protein, and fat. A little bit of protein, a little bit of good fat. We understood the balance. We understood purity. We understood that we wanted to make sure that that which we didn't want wasn't in there to the best of our abilities, and that which we wanted, what Darren calls the constituents, meaning a word that means the team player within the plants. The chemicals that benefits us, those are the constituents. So trying to keep that intact and alive, so viability of these elements, so that it was alive. And that, and of course our mushrooms and our adaptogen herbs, adaptogen mushrooms, which enhance your body's ability to deal with stress, which really the whole shake enhances your body and allows it to adapt itself to the stresses of life to the best of its ability. So we were trying to get as much as we could, as much potency, cleanliness, viability, integrity, aliveness in this little scoop of powder. That was the goal, and the goal was health. The goal was well-being. The goal was trying to make it delicious, yummy, so that you would want to reach for it every day. Because as we all know, you don't just drink one glass of water on Monday and feel like you're fine for the rest of the week. You don't just eat one apple and you're done for the rest of it. Nothing works like that. You don't exercise on Monday and you can do nothing for 6 other days. And therefore, these potent elements in the shake are meant to be ingested every day, so that at least you can sort of do the best that you can, at least to get these elements in that shake at least once a day. We can't control all that you ingest in one day, but we can make sure that this shake that we sell is the best that we could design, not the cheapest, the best that we could design. And that was the goal. So for me, everything that I'm involved in at Beachbody has nothing to do with making a 50-year-old woman looks like 25. I couldn't care less. But if I can help her be healthy and vital and get up and have the energy to do all the myriad things that we all do, women, every day, actually everyone nowadays, that to me is a good contribution from my experiences. So you're absolutely right. That is the main focus of the shake. And lots of integrity in there.
I love that that's what you were speaking of, because I feel like one of the biggest missions of us as coaches to get relayed to our consumers is that this should not be a scoop of powder that you feel like you're drinking to punish yourself because you just ate out or you just had a binge weekend, or punishing yourself because it's a meal replacement and suddenly you should just have a shake and still be hungry, or if anything you should...
Wait, what? Stop. Hi, cutie. Oh.
Say hi.
God. Hi. Oh my God.
She's a Shakeology baby.
Oh my God, congratulations.
Oh, thank you. But, we just don't want people to think it should be like a punishment. It should be like something in addition to a full day's worth of nutrition and a full day's worth of following our dinners on demand menu. In addition to that, to make it better as a whole view of health, not as a punishment
Yes, I can't agree with you more, because to me the dream goal is hopefully that none of our programs, none of our supplements, at least not the one I'm involved with, has anything to do with punishment. It's trying to bring pleasure and ease to these elements of life that we all know we need, and not as a punishment, but as a celebration, and not a celebration to market, just a deep, potent, felt inner celebration of, despite the entire world telling me all the reason why I'm not enough, ever, I know I'm enough. I know I'm worthy of moving, feeding my body well. I know I'm worthy of being vital and appreciated, and therefore appreciating the world. Don't step on the platform punishing yourself. That makes me so sad. So I love the fact that there's so many choices, that you can find yourself. And also, as we change, because we constantly change, that you can change, you can switch, you can do all sorts of things. You're not stuck in one place. Allow yourself to enjoy discovering the platform and all that you can do. To me, that's really the best attitude you could have for longevity, so that you don't have this sort of what people call, falling off the wagon. This sort of falling off thing kills me. I don't like people utilizing the shake because they've had, but that's life, that's humanity. And it's just not a pattern I'm used to. It's never been a pattern that I've enjoyed watching others do. And perhaps because I've been so challenged with my health throughout even my youth, I've never really done that. But when I see people punish, like going all out with excess and then punishing themselves with excess the opposite way, it just aches me. So the platform and the shake is really there to hopefully bring some kind of balance and some kind of joy in discovering the beauty of, the luck that you have to be able to do that. Like, since the birth of my child, he's 9 now, for some reason, something happened at the birth, and some crazy thing, like a bomb exploded in my hip pelvic bowl, and I've been in rehab, and I'm just starting to, just starting very basic things. I haven't been able to hike. I used to be a track and field coach, sprinting, jumping, all that stuff. And so I see people like, oh man, I have to push play. And I'm like, I would love to push play. Why don't you want to push play? You can move, you can jump, you can do push-up, you can do all these crazy things. Enjoy it. Don't punish it. It's not about being 120 pounds. It's about you can move. And so that's the place that everything that I participate in at the Beachbody platform, that is what the Beachbody platform is. And Carl is the same thing, finding through the platform ways to get himself to start enjoying all these things, which he doesn't. So he is looking into all these choices to find the fun of being spontaneous. Even the 80-day obsession is about something different every day. So in finding your place there. So anyway, I don't want to go on. I want to answer the questions that I know you have for me.
I think this stuff is great. I think that this is super powerful. I could hear you just go on and on. And I think too, one of the questions, of course, that I'm sure is asked all the time is how you explain to people the value to overcome the price objection. But I think that's really just what you just said. If people viewed Shakeology through the lens of everything you just explained, of a vessel to get us to balance, to get our bodies in harmony, to give our bodies what we deserve.
Yes.
Like as a gift to our bodies, there would be no price objection. Nobody would think twice about it.
That's for sure. But for some reason, to me, that alone is real enough, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't think many people actually have been formulator. Mm-hmm. I've started a company on their own. I've sold products like that. I've been in the business. So I think there's a lot of ignorance in what it actually entails to create a product. This company, and I'm saying not all of them, and I always preface that I know there's other good players out there, and I know that hopefully there's more and more coming on that platform because the world needs it. So by any means, I don't mean to appropriate that stage, that place on stage. It would make me sad the thought that we were the only one. But there's not that many yet. I hope there's more. But it's a challenge to find companies that don't do everything by phone, meaning most of the time, nobody meets. Nobody trusts. So suppliers, vendors, and let's say a company like Beachbody, like all these people don't really meet. They just talk through phone, it's all paperwork, and there you go. You get things shipped and you put it together. So it's a jewel to have a company, and I know because I've worked with other companies, so I've been there, that actually we meet the farmers. We travel all around the world to meet these people. We test the soil, we touch it. You've seen videos with Darren touching it, but it's not just Darren. Dozens and dozens of experts that are trained to know actually what to look for in the soil, what to test for. I'm always looking for the English words. The plants themselves. So seeing the validity of what they're claiming about their farm, let's say. So we actually meet the farmer, talks to them. We meet the people that own the manufacturing companies. We go test them and check them all out ourselves. We check before it gets processed. We check before it gets shipped. We check again when it gets here. Then we quarantine. Then we check again. We test everything all over again. Then we have to blend it all. We do it with state-of-the-art, delicate ways of processing these elements, like I said, in order to keep what is alive and vital, those constituents, and not have the heavy metal, the pesticide, the herbicide, the GMO that we don't want. You don't know that unless you test. We have gotten elements that were organic, but when you think about the soil organic, sometimes you forget that perhaps the water is dirty. The air is dirty. And if you have open pod, phytoplankton was something that Darren and I loved and wanting very early on in the making of the shake, but we couldn't find clean source because it's open pod. Most of it, we're still looking, by the way, most of it is grown outdoors, open facilities. So the pollution of the air would be absorbed, even if the soil was organic. There's a lot of elements into finding clean. So if you just rely on the stamp organic, you still don't know. Therefore, you have to be able to pay for a team of expert research, development, safety, people that are trained and have decades of experience testing all that over and over again to make sure it is safe and potent. Toxicity team that can make sure that the levels of the elements are not toxic to you, even if you have the shake 1 or 2 or 3 times. So to make sure you're safe. So all that costs a lot of money, and all of that is rarely around in companies. Mom and pop can't afford it, and a lot of big companies don't really care or even know that it needs to be done. So we are blessed to have these kind of people, and we have outside experts that we bring in to talk to all of us, to educate us, tell us about their expertise. We utilize their expertise when we're not quite sure if we have enough information. We continuously grow as well internally in our understanding of these plants. So all that is not cheap. And so also the state-of-the-art equipment is not cheap. So that's also the technical reason why it is so expensive. And the fact that we wanted to make it delicious without putting any artificial flavor or coloring and all that, that also took us at least 2 years, I think, just to make all these very potent herbs and elements that taste really gnarly, make it taste good altogether. Mm-hmm. That we have a team. They're the one who does that mix. It's not me. It's not Darren. It's a whole team that actually knows how to try to make these elements. And sometimes the constituents themselves don't blend well. So they'll call us and say, hey, we know you want that, but it's not working. And so then we have to look for a similar product or element that would blend better, and on it goes with 60 plus ingredients. Mm-hmm. That is also the reason behind the price. So not only is the intent of doing all that work there, but the technology and the know-how and the team is there to make sure that what we say, what's written on the bag actually is in the bag. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of pea protein and a lot of rice protein out there now, but most of it is from China, and we know most of it is polluted. So unless you test, you won't know what you get. Wow. You get the name rice protein, but how much heavy metals is in there?
Yeah. Wow. What is your, to tie it back into the dinners on demand that we're doing for these people, our thought behind it was that, we don't want people to, let's say they have a, foreign imported car, pretend like they could put unleaded gasoline in it all month, and then once in a while fill it with premium and expect it to run like a imported car. We want people to think of Shakeology like that and fuel their bodies with premium things all of the time, because Shakeology is so premium. You have to match that with what else you're putting in your body. You can't just fuel it with this one dose of goodness every once in a while and expect to feel all those goodness, to feel that balance, to feel it run. So what is your thought on what we're trying to accomplish here? Do you think that this is a good thing for people to get their we wanted them to get more out of their investment, let's say, because we want them to feel that goodness of the shake?
Well, it's no brainer, really. The shake is whole food, mm-hmm. but it's one shake. Mm-hmm. And most people have lost touch. We have completely lost touch the difference between restaurant food, whatever type of restaurant, and real healthy, clean eating. Mm-hmm. The taste of it, we've forgotten. Our tongues have forgotten, because everything is overly, there's sugar in everything, in plates, in meals that you wouldn't think there's sugar, mm-hmm. In order to make it addicting so that people eat more. There's table salt. Mm-hmm. There's all sorts of things in restaurant food that you would know if you were cooking your food with your ingredients. You would say, I'm not putting that in. I'm not putting that in. It's all in there when you go out. And most of us tend to eat out a lot more than we used to back in the days. So I think making the time to cook, that will show you exactly what real good healthy food tastes like, and also portion. You have a sense of how much oil, how much healthy fats you get in your meal. You don't know what kind of stuff they put in there that makes it more luscious to your tongue, more creamy. You have no idea how much cream and heavy stuff they put in order to make it taste good. So it really brings some clarity of like, that is what rice tastes like. That's what olive oil with a little of garlic, a little of spices, that's what it tastes like in my rice, as opposed to some Chinese food that you're like, how is it so addicting? Why do I want 5 bowls of it? Well, it's because there's a lot of crap in there that you're clueless on that makes it so. So it's re-educating your tongue so that your body remembers what real food tastes like. And the real food is what you need all day long, all the time. It's never just one thing. It is everything you eat. They say the breakfast is the most important meal of the day. They're all important. I get the theory behind that, because we have so many diets that make so you not eat in the morning. And that's a whole debate. I don't want to get in debate of philosophy of eating, but they're all important. You need to understand that this machine functions day and night. At night, when your consciousness shuts off, there's a whole sort of processing, of detoxing, of clearing, of processing that happens. Your body works 24/7. You need to feed it good food all the time. You know, and I need to chill. I need to chill about that. But sometimes, there's the birthday parties with our kids, and, then it's crap time. And, I said to my son, I get that I need to chill. I listen to Dada. I understand that you need to eat chemicals, pesticide, high level of white sugar, that's supposed to be love. I get it. I don't know when we started thinking that if we love our kids, that's what we're supposed to give you. Celebrate the day of your birth by giving you terrible things. But it seems to be what we do now. And I'm letting you, but I say your body has no clue it's birthday time. No clue it's vacation time. Your body does the same thing every day, all day long, every night. And your body is grateful and thankful when you feed it good things in order to accomplish all that it needs to accomplish. And this is where I feel self-love is so important, because we tend to punish or reward ourselves with bad food. And it's an interesting pattern to do that. And there's deep disconnection to what we are in that. So, to me, learning to value each meal as a sacred time, to honor that body, that is your most profound partner in life, despite, all that we're being told. It is, we are being told now more and more to look for disease in the body. Mammogram, now it's every year. Look for the cancer. It's all about look for the disease. It's all about put toxic makeup on yourself. It's all about, celebrate with bad food and rich food. It's all about you're never enough. And so to me, getting back to basic, going to the market, buying organic food, cooking it, taking a breath. I don't care how busy we are. If you make an hour and a half Saturday and Sunday to cook for, the week, or however your setup is, don't do it half-ass, in a hurry. Oh yeah, I have to eat healthy. It's like, no, this is sacred. This is, you are enough. You are worth it. And you can take a deep breath, put some lovely music in the background, put some incense if you're into that, and chop your veggies and cook your quinoa and, make your lentils or your healthy piece of meat, whatever rocks your boat. But take the time to value it. It is precious because it's you and you. It's you saying, oh no, this is important. I matter. I'm enough. And I'm having my shake, but I'm also having a good breakfast, a good snack, a good lunch. And I'm showing my child that there's always time to take care of myself. It's not after this, after that. It is part of. And so I bless you for incorporating something that I think is deeply lacking in our busy, no time to ever eat at home. Most families now don't have family dinners. We arrive at home late. We don't have the same schedule. So be it. Then when you're on your own, still make it sacred. Still make it precious. Still honor this incredible machine that we abuse throughout our teens, 20s, and 30s. And then we're shocked that it's starting to ache in our 40s, 50s, and 60s. Now, am I saying that shit doesn't happen? Yeah. Stuff happens in life on earth. Accidents happen, disease happens, yes. But maintenance of your health to the best of your ability on a regular basis will help you deal with the ups and downs of life in a very different way than if you see your body as a machine that's never supposed to fail you no matter what you put in it.
I love that. Does anybody have questions that we haven't touched on that's on this part right here, not in the live feed?
I have a question. How
Yeah.
about for the people who say, well, I eat clean and I get my nutrients from real foods that I'm eating. I don't just want to drink it out of a powder shake.
Yes, I know. I got that a lot, and bless their hearts. Um, it's interesting because most people, I was doing nutrition for decades before I ended up with you guys and Carl and Beachbody, and I've rarely met an individual. So I did decades of one-on-one work, right? I've rarely met an individual that ate clean and well every meal, like we've just discussed. I've rarely met someone like that. So who doesn't abuse their body with alcohol or lack of sleep or overtraining and not feeding it quite what it needed, especially women trying to work so hard but not eating enough in order to be lean, and on it goes. So I've rarely met anybody like that. So when I hear that, it always feels like it's a theory. It's a wonderful theory that the brain is very happy because the brain wants to be right. The heart wants to be happy and healthy. So to me, it's a wonderful way to argue, to keep arguing with the obvious. And I say also, the same problem that I encounter with the Shakeology, because Shakeology is whole food, is existing in the world. That is that there's tons of research now showing that vegetable, fruits, legumes, all of food supply is not loaded with the same amount of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, phytonutrients that it used to. Of course, it makes total sense. You don't have to be a smart person to understand if the whole planet is highly polluted, if our soil are stripped down, right? Depleted. Then what grows from it will be depleted as well. It is all, those research are all over Google. Just go to town. So you don't have to believe me. I wish I was wrong, to be honest with you. I wish that our rhythm of the way we live was not such that we don't take the time to do just that. I wished my whole speech about restaurant was not true. Most people eat a lot out. So it's like one of those thoughts. It's like, do you want to just argue the obvious, or can you just honestly, it's so challenging to be honest with ourselves. Now, when I go into this conversation, I couldn't care less if they buy the shake or not. I rarely go into any conversation deeply with the intent of selling the shake. It's interesting, and I mean it. It's the truth. The shake is a way that Darren and I and the company are putting out something in the world, right? It's we all creators. We all like to create and co-create and do something. And we all know now more and more that helping each other feels good as opposed to taking from in order to have more. So we all getting hip to that one. And so that is my way, with everyone included at Beachbody, to put out a creation in the world. That's one of the things I do. And I share it, and I'm proud of it. And as of now, it has shown that it enhances people's health. And so I have no shame in knowing that we did the best. We're selling what we think is the best we can do as of now. We are constantly looking for ways to improve all the time. So when I talk to someone about that, it's like I wish I could open my heart and say, I really don't care if you buy the shake or not. But this argument, more and more, put the shake aside, has no value in itself. It is not true for most human beings. And if these people would put down everything, their lifestyle, how they abuse, what they do take, what they don't take, how they go about living, eating, nourishing themselves, sleep, all that, they would see on a piece of paper the truth of what I'm saying. And so I've done that actually. When I used to take a person one-on-one, I wouldn't work with them until they tried to the best of their ability to be honest and write all these things down for at least a week. And then we would look at the patterns, what showed itself. So it's not me saying, it's like, let's see what is. Let's assess what is. And so even these people, if you ask them to do that, they would actually, if they were capable of this deep honesty with themselves, not trying to be right, but finding what is necessary to be healthy, they would see that their own lifestyle does not reflect that statement. And again, um, elements nowadays are not what they used to be. They don't have all these rich elements that we all look for. This is why the shake is so challenging to make. We are constantly refusing vendors much more than accepting, refusing ingredients much more than we're accepting, because it's depleted to no end. It's a depressing thing to move through the last decades, to have such a hard time to find potent ingredients because it's so polluted. It's not fun to realize that. It's not fun to have to go all around the world to have to get certain elements we should have at home, but we have to get it in Switzerland in order for it to be clean. That's scary. So that's my answer to that. I'm not a good one-liner girl, in case you didn't realize. That's my job.
I love it. Jessica said here, can you just touch a little on Daily Sunshine, how that came about and the goal with it?
Oh, yes. Thank you for asking, because I love the Daily Sunshine. First of all, I was asked to do a shake like that like 8 years ago. Wow. Mothers kept asking me because of all sorts of allergies. And I think you all know that because of the 60 plus ingredients, the fact that we're dealing with different languages, different cultures, different ways that they've been cultivating their land for hundreds of years, asking them to change that is a heck of a job all around the world. Language problem, they would have to charge us more. They're already giving you a hard time about price. If they have to charge us more, we have to charge you more, which is part of why we retain a highly trained team to make sure it is clean, since all that would be a mind thing, a very challenging thing to do. There was a bad word I was going to say. So the Daily Sunshine became, mothers kept asking me years and years and years of asking at the summit, especially. Then I had my son, and I lived the challenge. Some of you are lucky that you don't do that, but I had a very picky son, thanks to my husband. And so he inherited the love for pizza and cheese and all that stuff, but he's dairy sensitive, no gluten, doesn't like meat. He wasn't raised that way, but like the challenges I encountered with him was crazy, and trying to get these food, the very foundation building block of a healthy kid, growing body, therefore channeled for 4 years and up. I live the hell of that. Also the hell of school, what he's surrounded by, what he sees everybody else eating. At school, they don't have time to eat. Parents working, both parents working, not having time to argue for every piece of broccoli and being thrilled if they have 4 pieces of broccoli in their bodies, or not having time to have a good breakfast. On and on it goes. So I really saw the need for basically a snack that was like the best meal that most kids have in a day. Because when we did the research, it was much more horrifying than I ever thought. Kids really, I mean, I'm blown away by how terrible their eating habits are. And it's not an accusatory statement. It's more just sad, once again. So they really don't get these vegetables, these fruits, these healthy protein and fat, and the fiber that they need in their tummies at a young age are already a mess, which is why I added probiotic in there. So I realized that these basic foundation of what we all know as little human beings growing up, they need, most of them just don't get it or barely get enough. It was more real than I ever thought. And that was the goal behind it. Also, the fact that mothers have to fight for every, whether it's brushing teeth or taking a bath or like everything that we know they have to do, it's a fight. So it was like, wouldn't it be great if they would beg for their fruit, vegetable, protein, healthy fat and fiber, because it tasted like a dessert. So it was tested with 400 something kids to try to make sure that it was palatable to most kids, that they would want it. So it's a little sweeter, more to their taste, but it's these foundation elements for being healthy that I try to put in there. Also, so that kids wouldn't feel punished by eating something healthy. So the association of it can be healthy and taste good. It's also why I made it a little cup, and they can put the little powder at the bottom of the cup. They only need cold water. So the Shakeology, you tend to, I'm looking there because I have it next to me. The Shakeology, you tend to dress it up. And also very often the kids will not drink the whole Shakeology. They'll just have a third. They don't actually get everything. With the Daily Sunshine, it's set up that they can just pour cold water or any cold liquid, and most of them will want the whole thing. It's easy to make. They're very proud of doing their own shake. I was trying to put myself in their shoe and watching my child, very proud of having his own shake. There's moments in life where I don't want to fight, and he really just wants pasta. And my son is very sensitive to too much carb, sugar, all that. It just doesn't do well. He's got everything. So it was a perfect petri dish. So sometimes I want him to have the only pasta, but if I give him just carbs, he doesn't do well. And I say, well, you can have your pasta, but you have to have your Daily Sunshine. And he's like, it's a win-win. What? And he has his Daily Sunshine. Now I know he has protein, carbs, fiber, and good healthy fats, and his veggies and his fruits. In that, I feel better about the pasta. It balances his blood sugar, so the impact of the pasta alone is not that big. And there's all little moments in life like that. They wake up late. They're gonna miss their bus, or you're rushing. You haven't gotten it together that morning. You can make that shake. Give it to them. You know they're going to be okay. Very often I hear parents saying they don't have time to eat. They have no time to eat. They have the Daily Sunshine. They're set. And on I could go. Also, a lot of doctors don't even know about 90% of the ingredients in the Shakeology. So when a parent goes to their pediatrician, and I understand it, are funky about approving it for their kids because they don't know the elements. We tell people now, doctors get one class in 4 years or so of studying about nutrition, because they don't really know about nutrition, and it's okay. It's not what they're trained to do, but we trust them. So very often they would not give their kids Shakeology. Now with the Daily Sunshine, I keep it super simple. Very simple, recognizable elements, ingredients that doctors, mothers can feel very comfortable with. There's nothing scary in there. Ashwagandha, adaptogen mushrooms, nothing to freak you out, so that doctors can say, yes, go for it. Also, because it's a simple formula, because there's less ingredients, I was able to get all these certification that you need. So in my mind, that was amazing I could do that. And I was thinking of the people that really want the stamp, gluten-free, dairy-free, organic, because they have such deep allergies. They really want to see those stamps. I was able to do that. I was also in the very back of my head, because I deal with a lot of the autistic kids. I know that these kids, the smell, the texture, the color, everything matters if they're going to drink it or not drinking. And it's so hard for these parents to feed these kids good nutrition, and yet they need it so badly. So even though I couldn't market, it's not glamorous to that, in the back of my head, I was like, oh my God, I hope they get their hands on the Daily Sunshine, because I think it could really help them and bless them. I've got hundreds of mothers that now are thrilled because their autistic kids can actually have a healthy snack with all that good stuff in there. So that's just some of the reasons behind the shake. The Daily Sunshine, I mean.
Love that. Yeah, Amy shared in here, her daughter absolutely loves it. And the more her body has it, the more she's craving good food. She's starting to eat vegetables. I love watching her share her daughter in her grocery shopping and making healthy things. And she says she has it as a snack right before math class. But yeah, Shelby, she's our registered dietitian, the one who creates all of our amazing dinners on demand meal plans. And she said too that doctors only get the 16 hours. That boggles my mind. I'm a nurse as well. And part of the reason why I wanted to become a coach was because it was really hard for me to go to work every day and discharge patients with no education. Bree, you're a nurse too on here, and like with no education on what to do differently. Like they didn't give us enough time to really do the preventative side of it. And there was nothing in the preventative discharge instructions about nutrition at all. And the crap that they're telling our heart patients to follow a cardiac diet is a bunch of BS too. Like that's a bunch of garbage. It's just lower salt, but it's a whole bunch of other crap you shouldn't be eating. It's just, I felt really hard going to work every day and not doing what I really felt like we should be doing.
Wow. That's great.
It's sad.
Well, it's also exciting. More and more people are waking up to that. So I prefer looking at it that the more obvious it becomes, the more prevalent it becomes, the more awakening is happening on the other side as well. We're not advertised as much, but we're there. We're coming up, we're learning. A lot more doctors, MDs are now utilizing alternative therapies to help their clients because they could see they couldn't help them fully. So I see more and more doctors also doing that. So as horrible as it looks in the world, the more that stuff comes out, the more people like us are coming out as well. There's a lot more advertisement with drugs and all that stuff and more money into that. So you don't see us as much. But I see the amazing people that are coming on the platform and waking up. And that's the value of you guys. It really is that human element of having been there and done that. Just what you told me. That's powerful. When I talk to people, I'd say, your story is powerful. You tell me my story is powerful, why the shake began, why the daily sunshine began. Your story is powerful. That's what you should talk about as well, because that's what matters. You lived that. That's your truth. So what you just said to me is powerful and it's true. And every pore is alive when you talk about that because it's your truth. And so, yes, there's a lot of depressing things, but there's a whole bunch of people coming on track now that are also doing what you guys are doing.
Bree, she's the other nurse on the call, and she said you'll find a half dozen Shakeology bottles around her pediatric ICU unit every day.
Oh, that's so great.
It's really cool to think of too, just where it started, like even with the people in this group who are just our consumers with our Shakeology. It started with 100 and now we're, I don't even know how many, over 700 or something in the group now. We have over 1,500 on our team on Shakeology every month. And that's just the people that get our menus. That's not even the people that aren't getting the menus or aren't interested in that side. And that's a powerful thing to think about, how it starts with one person and it just...
Oh, yes. Listen, it started in my kitchen. And when Carl asked me and I was like, okay, like there was no thought of all this. Maybe my husband, because he thinks big, thank God. But for me, it was like this argument I had with him, you better not mess with it because I'm married to you. Because I walked on many companies, right? You know my story. So the idea that my husband would, disappoint me. Oh my God, that was such a scary time. Every time I say it, I relive it a little bit. It's like, thank God he is who he is. But, and then Darren comes on board and we're both like, okay, let's do this. But, we look at all of you and it's always like, wow. So, when you think you're nobody and you're not doing much and what are you going to do? What can you change in the world? Like that, you, Darren and I and Carl, and the company now, like, yeah, that's what one woman in her kitchen with her husband, a conversation, and it moved. And look, so every single one of you have a potent effect on the whole. One is the whole is one. Who says that? I love her. Anyway, I didn't pin that phrase, just so you know, I don't want to own it. But, it is so true that you have such a profound impact, and the platform to me is unbelievable because you are touching on vital element of life and the very elements that are threatened in the world right now. Human contact, human conversation, learning to help another, to help oneself, whether it's in terms of health or finance, because finance is vilified so much nowadays. It's or you're spiritual and a good person and you're poor and you're not allowed to charge for it. For some reason, you're supposed to remain poor. Or you're rich and you're a villain who wants to destroy the world. And it's these dichotomy that's like, no, there's so much more diversity. And there's an ability to have health abundance and finance abundance in order to enhance another. And so that's what the platform is for me. It's enhancing each other on all level, and not waiting for a computer to sell your product or just typing add to cart, but forcing human conversation, forcing human sharing of our emotional state, which really created the chaos in our eating and exercise patterns. It's all emotional to begin with. So a computer program is not going to help you there. It's this human sharing of our stories. It's always been human stories, of sharing those stories. That has always been what has changed the world. And so this platform is based on these basic fundamentals that are the very thing that all human beings are craving and confused about. And so I am so proud of this platform and all of you. And I think the coach underestimate its value in the company, and therefore sometimes does not step up to the plate as much as he or she should. And I don't want to say should as shame you, but it should be a better word than should. I don't like should. As much as the potency in them allows them to, if they embrace it 100%, that I am an amazing person that can have an amazing impact in the world. Let me step into it completely, wholeheartedly. Yes, you can be healthy. Yes, you can have fun. Yes, you can have free time and take care of your family. Yes, you can have wealth and share it without putting anybody else's down. Yes, you can feel proud of your well-being, your shine, your glow, and not and want it on another woman's face as well. Mm-hmm. We can be what we were designed to be. I don't believe in being born as a sinful human being. Mm-hmm. I believe we are born from the abundance of life itself that creates all to be well. And we have to remember that. And I think the platform can do that. From the very moment you get on a Zoom call, when you pick up the phone, when you talk to someone, however you discuss, whatever conversation you have, this is where your job as a coach starts. Meaning, what kind of human being would I be today? How would I deal with a person who wants to fight me, argue with me, who's not into what I do? How do I react to that? How can I be a coach at that level? Not just what I eat, how I exercise, but what kind of human being will I be? How do I step up to the plate? How can I use this platform to enhance myself from the inside out every single day in my actions, all the time in my words? And do I see other people that disagree with me as the enemy, or just a mirror of aspect of myself where I argue things that are not really enhancing to my well-being? I'll argue for it. I'll try to be right. I'll lie. I'll do all sorts of things to avoid the truth. So why can I invite that human being, feel it, that it can be heard? Can I listen with conscious compassion and just be there to share my story, share what has helped me, and the rest, it's in the hands of God's. We all know we pick up a book one time and we're not interested at all, and the same book falls in our hands 10 years later, and it's like, whoa! So, you're ready for what you're ready when you're ready for it. Mm-hmm. And you just show up. You keep showing up every day, and you never fail. If you step up to the plate as that kind of human being, you are never failing, ever.
I feel like we just got like a week's worth of personal development from this one call. I'm like all over, from like the feel good to the knowledge to my notes are like all over. I love it. Well, I really want to respect your time, and I want you to know how much it really means to our team and to our Dinners on Demand community. And this will be a recording that we'll use to hopefully make other women feel good about themselves. Coaches feel empowered. And I just want you to know that your time tonight with us will go a very, very long way. It's not just a one night call for our team. We will use this as a resource forever. So we can't.
I love to hear that. Thank you.
We really appreciate your time, Isabelle.
I feel so grateful for your time as well.
Thank you for everything you do, and we'll see you at Summit.
Yes, I hope so.
All right. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Be well.